Yo, yo, yo. What is up, YouTube? It is Quant.less. We are back. We are finally back. It's been a minute, right? It's been a while. It's been, what, a couple weeks or something? I haven't uploaded a YouTube video in quite some time. I've been very, very locked in on trying to absolutely pack my private circle, my private mentorship, which I have finally released like about a week ago, I'd say, a little bit more than a week ago, which I'll link that in the description along with my free Discord, which, by the way, I am finally starting to give out more sauce. You already know, right? I'm trying to help you guys understand how I trade, right? Understand the concepts that I trade to help you guys and to, give you guys a little hint of what's behind the doors. Um, so, if you have not already joined my private server, I really recommend you do. It is in the description. I'll, give that out. As well as this next Friday, January 9th at 6 p.m., we are having a market maker model lecture along with my weekly recap. Eventually going on to future lives, okay? We have weekly recaps, okay? Alongside, we have our lecture, depending on what I'm feeling and what I hear you guys talking about. If you guys start saying like, oh, I'm kind of having trouble with like going into PO3 and this step, like 4-hour PO3, 30-minute PO3, I'll give a lecture on that, right? I'm just trying to benefit your experience within my server to ultimately help you guys understand how I trade and improve your experience here in Pacificus Amore, right? So let's get straight into it. So for this video, we're going to be getting into how significant and important PO3 is, okay? So I want you guys, for right now, I'm going to be giving you guys this very, very good example, okay? I did not trade this day. This was yesterday. This was Friday. Okay, I did not trade this day only because, to me, I don't like trading unprobable market conditions. Just because it's clean doesn't necessarily mean that I would like to trade it. I preferably like to trade days that obviously look clean ahead of time, and the conditions, right, the market conditions in general, whether it comes to news and everything, plays out, right, and aligns right. So like in this day, we were post-holiday, okay? This was January 2nd, so this was the day after the holiday, which was New Year's, which, by the way, Happy New Year's. I hope you guys had an amazing New Year's, spent time with family, just enjoyed it very much. And I wish you guys an absolutely amazing 2026, filled with a bunch of blessings and love. Basically, I want you guys, for right now, let's just get straight into it, okay? So, for right now, I want you guys, apart from what you guys may already know when it comes to monthly and weekly PO3, I want you guys to right now focus on the daily PO3 and the daily candles and the importance that it gives us, because just based off of that, it can give you such a huge and important understanding of what the market is telling us, okay? So within this day, okay, first of all, I was looking for bearish prices through this week to be able to rebalance this range, considering we are in a higher time frame market maker buy model. Okay, now I wanted us to rebalance this unbalanced range. Okay, what have I said in previous videos about unbalanced ranges? Is that we must dip down, or in other cases pump up, right, to rebalance unbalanced ranges to be able to put in a cracking correlation at that low. Sorry, excuse me. Before we can then continue and send price higher in this scenario, right? But in general, to send price to continue the higher time frame trend and support it, right? So with that being said, I was looking for price to rebalance the 50% of this range, okay? So going into the previous day, right, because Thursday was the holiday, we did not have a Thursday, right? Thursday didn't exist. So Friday was our last day of the week, last trading day of the week. However, I did not trade, obviously, as I said, because it's post-holiday, and I didn't think, I didn't think that it was going to be amazing conditions. Okay, so purely just going off of the daily PO3s and the daily candles, that, as I was explaining, you can get so much intel on what price wants to do. Okay, now really quick, if you are unfamiliar with the concepts that I trade PO3, MMXM, and Quarterly Theory combined, right? I trade ICT, SMC, right? SMC, so smart money concepts, along with Quarterly Theory. Okay, so with that being said, let's get straight into this scenario. This is a very, very good example. So By the way, I have a channel where I send out all my indicators. If you guys want to have this indicator, but it's just the ICT high time frame candles. But anyway, I like to use this for SMTs with previous day high, previous day low, and stuff like that. Okay, so going into the market initially, right? As I said with the daily candles, you can immediately already look to see if there's a cracking correlation with the previous low, with the previous candle's low or the previous candle's high. Okay, and this is a good example because immediately we can see we have a weekly cycle SSMT at the high, which is also considered a SMT with previous day high. Okay, well, we have a weekly cycle at the high. Okay, NQ rated previous day high. Meanwhile, ES failed to rate previous day high, and so did YM. So with that being said, we can overall now see that bearish prices may as well play out. Now, also, what did we do? As I explained with the rebalancing the ranges, we in fact also reached premium of the whole entire week's range, right? This is from the start of the week, or just from this entire range, right? We rebalanced and we reached premium of the week's range. Okay, so now that we are on premium of the range, okay, we have a weekly cycle at the highs, right? SMT with the previous daily candles high. With that being said, we can also look for bearish prices. Now, what else do we have here, down here, other than the fact that we had edged EQ of this range, okay, equilibrium of this range, 50% of the range. Okay, what did we also do? We failed to put in a cracking correlation at the low. As you can see, we have no cracking correlation at the low. So with that being said, we edged it with no cracking correlation, so these are unprotected lows. These lows are completely unprotected because if they were protected, they would have a cracking correlation. But clearly, they are not protected because they edged EQ of the range, right? These lows edged EQ of the range and has no cracking correlation. Now, what else do we have? We have a completely unmitigated new dog. Okay, if you don't know what a new dog is, it's just when the daily opens, creating a gap with the previous day's close. Okay, so this is a new day opening gap, a new dog. So with that being said, we have a completely unmitigated new dog, unprotected lows with no cracking correlation at the low. Okay, we have EQ of the range right here. We are in premium of the week's range, as well as we have a sequential SMT at the highs. Okay, we have an SMT with the previous day high. Now, what else can you also see? Let me drop down to the 15-minute really quick to say. Let me wait for the. Okay, they loaded. So perfect. Now, I can really quick show you guys. We have a clear within the daily profile. We have an XAMD. Okay, we have this being. Oh, here. Wait, let me. Damn, sorry. I just got over being sick, so I'm sorry about that. We have our clear, as you can see, by the way, just really quick, right off of, right when the daily candle opened, we expanded greatly. We expanded around 300 points, 360 points on the total day up, okay? So we have our expansion higher, okay? And then we had our accumulation phase with right here, okay? This was our accumulation. Put this yellow. And then this was our manipulation higher, okay, as we are having a, as I explained, a bearish PO3, bearish daily PO3, to then have, whoa, okay, let me just draw this out a little bit better really quick. Okay, so now that you can see, right, I know this may look a little bit funny, right, but as you can see, we have our XAMD daily profile, right? Now, going into a little bit more of the daily PO3, okay? As I said, we have a cracking correlation with the previous daily candle's high. What else do we have? Well, looking here within this PO3 here, we can kind of see we sort of had our accumulation here. Okay, although the XAMD profile does explain it a lot better, this is still very good, very good because you can kind of see that before New York opens, we tend to accumulate a little bit here, right? And if we're looking for a bearish daily PO3 and bearish price action, right, we want to see our manipulation higher, right? Raid some buy stops before we can now continue lower, right? So, well, what did we do? Right off of open, let me drop down to the 1 minute so you guys can see this a little bit better. Some people got faked out on this. Is right here off of open, we had manipulated higher. Okay, now within this, something that you may realize is that we have not yet taken out these highs. Now, for a clear manipulation to take place, we preferably should be wanting to take out these highs and put in a correct correlation at those highs. Okay. Well, looking at those highs, as you can see, where is it? Here. As you can see, we still have no cracking correlation at that high. Okay. Let me just really quick drop down to the 15 minutes so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. So basically, as you can see, we have these highs that I explained on NQ, and then we have those same highs on ES. Okay. Along with those highs, where are they at? Here. The highest point right there would be here. So those highs being here, right? So going into the first candle, right, going into New York Open, as you can see, we have not yet rated those highs, okay? We have not yet rated those highs to validate clear manipulation. Meanwhile, ES has not yet taken out those highs either, and neither has YM. Well, then what do? You wait. You simply wait. You wait for a new microcycle to open. You wait for 9:45. That's what I do. Well, what do you see? You see that price then. Once 9:45 opens, we manipulate higher. We take out the high, and we create a cracking correlation with this high. Okay, we create the cracking correlation because ES and NQ succeed to raid that high. Meanwhile, YM is still falling under, right? So now we have now put in another, okay, a second cracking correlation, right? There were more cracking correlations within there, but what I will go into is that there was another cracking correlation. So now we have that weekly cycle sequential SMT that I was explaining, right? The cracking correlation with the previous daily candle's high, along with the daily Po3 being bearish. Let me just really quick go into the 1 hour and explain everything here. What do we have? What is the circumstances of this day? What is telling us that price is now going to be bearish right after that 9:45 candle opens and we create that other cracking correlation? Well, we have EQ of the range that is EQ of the unbalanced range that we must rebalance to then create a cracking correlation to send price higher, continuing the higher time frame trend. Correct? Now, what else is there? Well, there is a completely unprotected lows here, right? Because we had edged 50% of the range that I was talking about, and we did not put in any sort of cracking correlation at that low, okay? Along with no cracking correlation with the daily open. So with that being said, we have no cracking correlation with low of day, along with a completely unmitigated new dog, okay? Now, let's drop down the 15-minute really quick. What else do we have? Well, we also have I can go back to the 1 hour really quick. Sorry about that. Now, what else do we have? Well, we have the cracking correlation with the previous day's high, also known as the previous daily candle's high. And also, we are in premium. We have now manipulated into premium of the week's range. Okay, so we are in premium of the week's range, indicating that we might see bearish prices. We have the cracking correlation at the high, right, with the previous daily candle's high. Right, so that is another cracking correlation there, along with no cracking correlation at low of day. So we have unprotected lows down here, right, at the lows, along with EQ of the unbalanced range, which we must rebalance to continue the higher time frame trend, along with an unmitigated new dog. Okay, so I basically just told you guys everything that I have been telling you guys the entire video, right? So now, also, what else do we have going down to the 15-minute time frame is, as I explained, the XAMD profile, as we had our expansion, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Okay, so with all that being said, we are looking for bearish prices. Okay, so once we had put in that second, or I shouldn't say second, but just that plus of a cracking correlation, that shows us that price really is indicating bearish prices, and we should be expecting price to be dumping. Now, obviously, we should know that we will want price to rebalance its range before now we can be expecting higher prices now that we have officially rebalanced its range. Okay, so with all that being said, what I recommend you do is when you go into your charts, try and figure out if there is a cracking correlation with the previous daily candle's high or low. Okay, obviously there are more steps to it, but you can understand that with my previous videos, which I've explained the daily Po3 as well, with other Po3s, as well as, once again, I'm just going to remind you not to push it, but just I'm just helping you guys out. In my free server, I explained this, right? Yesterday, I explained the Po3, and I'll definitely refer back to that as well. And I'll also be recording. I'm currently cooking up on something pretty good where I'll be recording all my lectures and giving out some more free education within a free WAP community, and you'll become more of like a verified, certified kind of member, okay, within my server, okay? You'll have a cool special little role, and you'll be in the free WAP community where you'll be able to see all that good stuff and all the lessons within there, okay? That's aside from the private circle, okay? So with all that being said, I hope you guys really, really enjoyed this lesson. I hope you guys can finally understand, not finally, because you may have already understood this, but overall, I'm happy. Hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you guys have any questions, please let me know down in the comments, as well as join up the free server. Let's get this community growing. Let's get the family growing. Excited to see where we're at in a couple of months. 2026 is going to be our year, bro. I'm telling you, it's going to be your year. You're going to have an amazing year. I wish you guys all the best. An amazing, blessed year, an amazing, blessed day, rest of your week, and a new week ahead of us. Okay? Have an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Love you guys.